This is a brand new original. I'm playing with the Beth Barron string band. It's one of those I thought I should start off with one that doesn't really have a name yet. But new song is pretty powerful. Whatever you, while you wrote it. Well, I don't want to say this, but as far as I can tell, having all is I don't see very well. I ain't sober since the day I was born. It wasn't you I've been broken, no before. Well, I always say I'll fix myself when I get home. There's plenty fixing to do. One day I'm gonna better my life to myself. God have a little grace on me. God please have a little grace on me. Well, I'm so goddamn tired of feeling sorry for myself. There's plenty of things for me to do. But your voice breaks my heart once in a while. But I don't wish that it hurt my ear. And I pray that one day I'll heal. All right. Thank you. It was really great. Thanks. So yeah, that was an original. That's the next one. Is a song I wrote. Come around. And good old-fashioned relationship that you just piss them off all the time, and you're like, I don't know what I did. So this is me saying sorry. forgive me and let me love you. When I'm done, baby, make it slow. It's been my boy, boy, I love you so. One more time. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad it sounds okay. All right. Well, this actually came out like maybe a year ago. I recorded this with Ben Richard, who was a fantastic fiddle player. Cool human too. And it's funny when you record a song and you just like let it lie for a little bit. So I just been playing it out again. He makes it sound a lot cooler. It's called Kiss My Cheek. Hush, my baby, don't make a sound. Tomorrow we will all be fine. I'm not bad, I was trying to tell you. I just need a coin that night. You're so damn good looking, I'm sorry I'm sad. Get me a minute or two. Just get tired sometimes. I'm sorry when I blame you. Closely kiss my cheek. When we get weary, it's time to get some sleep. Let's just get some sleep. Well, I'll drink the wine I'll scream about. I'm sorry for when I do. Got some anger, got some scars. Those demons seem to sneak right through. You got 'em too, I heard you scream. Better visit to your dreams. Now forget that I'm not alone. These demons don't just follow me. Closely kiss my cheek. When we get weary, when it's One more, or was that? What do you? All right, cool. You can say no. I won't hurt my So I wrote this song. I saw this like older couple. They've been dancing around. Like I live over in the East Bay, and this older, they're like in their 80s, and they still like teach dancing classes over there. And at one of my gigs, they were like dancing to one of my songs, which isn't often. So, but it was so cool, and like I almost got, and I wrote this song kind of based on that, and I remember like playing it around Christmas, and it was the first time me and my brother played together. He's a great musician. My like parents danced to it. That was like a cool thing because I never saw them do that before. They were parted ways for a long time, and that was a really cool thing to see. And Robin Hood is on. That's awesome. So this is called The Long Road. It's about the other one passes on. They're gonna take the long road to whatever afterlife they have, because that's their buddy. You want to wait for him. Well, if I die long before thee, wait for as long as I can. Take the long road and up to heaven. You and I can walk through the gates hand in hand. And if my life ends too soon, it's okay, 'cause it was spent here. Comes a calling while I wait for you. I'll scream your name and pray, 'cause that evil got nothing on you. Well, if I die long before thee, wait for as long as I can. Take the long road now to heaven. You and I through the gates hand in hand. Well, I die long before thee, yeah, I'll wait for as long as I can. I'll take the long road. You and I can walk through the gates hand in hand. You and I can walk through the gates hand in hand. You and I can walk through the gates, oh, hand in hand. Thank you.
Welcome back to Motifs Between the Notes, sponsored by R1 Indoor Karting, Trinity Beer Garden, RI Blood Center. We have Mother Earth Wellness Dispensary and Ballet RI. I am here with the wonderful Beth Barron, who just put on an amazing performance. Beth, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. This is fantastic.
That was such a great performance.
Thank
How long have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing out live for probably the past 5 years now, and doing my solo thing. And, I have a lot of projects in the works, and I've been playing with the Beth Barron String Band, who are two, I play with a few folks from the area, like Ben Richard, fantastic fiddle player, James and Joe, banjo and stand-up bass, and we're all doing our originals, and it's a really cool project. So I've been, altogether about 5 years live and out.
Live. But did you always play guitar? Did you always dabble in singing?
I was always a songwriter, and I'm a piano player by nature, and I taught myself guitar. I'm
Nice.
self-taught
So
because
it started out as piano
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
shifted to guitar.
and I always thought my voice wasn't like pretty enough for the piano. I was like, this is so beautiful. And it's just like, that greenness of the guitar. So the guitar I use today was like the first guitar I ever had, and my father bought that for me, and he found it secondhand. And he's like, if you're gonna learn, here you go. And if you want to learn a song, play a Bob Dylan song, because I thought my voice was like different. He's like, he never said it was good, but he's like, play a Bob Dylan song.
Well, it was so great, so
Thank
amazing.
you.
I loved it.
You're fantastic.
What do you? Where was your first place that you performed?
Actually, the first place I ever performed an original song was here at the Parlour. That was maybe 6 years ago, and I came in, weird time in my life, and I came in without a guitar, and I just needed to share a song that I wrote, and it was the first time I ever shared an original song.
Was it during the open mics?
It was during the open mic, yeah, and I remember I just wanted to come in and get out, and then I met some great folks in this community. I was like, whoa, cool.
You mentioned the community, so we're both EP gals.
I know.
Shout out East Providence. So born and raised Rhode Islander. What do you think makes the Rhode Island music scene so special?
These small communities throughout Rhode Island, and they're you find a niche, and you're like, oh, I really love this. I love the Warren area, and I didn't even know that existed, with artistry and everything and whatnot. And even in the Coventry area, and Providence is fantastic, but there are so many communities throughout Rhode Island that I've had the pleasure of exploring, just by other songwriters and musicians, and it's very cool to kind of dip your feet into all these different communities.
It seems like you can bounce around pretty easily here, with the different communities that there are.
Yes, as long to adapt, and if intention is good, and you're just looking for that positive, constructive, cool, community that you just want to share the music.
Yeah.
And
during COVID, how did that? I always like to ask this: how did that affect you? Because you weren't really able to perform in the typical sense, up on stages in the performance spaces. So
honestly, it was that's when I really grew. I worked on because I was terrified to play out, and all of a sudden I was playing 3-hour gigs, but I was working so hard at home. I lived by myself. I adopted a cat. Hi, Lola.
do you still have said cat?
Yeah, I still have Lola. Yeah, and but the thing is during quarantine, that was such a humbling experience, and really sitting with myself in writings that I never even touched for years, and putting them to guitar. And I've said it before, I felt like I was always more of a poet who just kind of happens to play guitar. But I always wanted to write that story or short stories, but to be able to put them in guitar. Quarantine really sat me down to do that. And then I was working at Bradley Hospital. I left Bradley Hospital, and I was teaching from home old students, and I had 27 students teaching on Zoom piano and guitar.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and I work from home, and I'm like, this is cool. I'm adapting, and whatnot.
So COVID gave you that time to just spend on working on your craft, basically.
A bit, because I had to reset my mind, because it was such a shock to the system, so.
When you were performing some of your songs, you gave some backstories. One was about, a relationship not really going the best. What's your songwriting process like? or how do you get inspired?
It kind of happens like this, and it's funny. I'll write like these things that I think about down because I have a notebook with me. I'm not really good, like people like hate me. They're like, use your Google Calendar. I was like, I don't. I have a written planner.
Well,
And I
sometimes
have
the
7.
motion of writing something down makes
remember
it
it.
stick. Yeah.
And like I used to write down all the songs that I wrote by hand already, but like also even if I was going to cover a song, I write it down. And I saw because it just made me process it and like remember it easier. But like the songwriting process, it's kind of based on something that I hear, like a saying or even a word, and then it just kind of, then I dive into
You
it. And,
snowball.
yeah, and I can't let go of it because I have so many songs that I've started, like hundreds, and I'm just like, ooh, this is awesome. I hated it at one point. I didn't want to touch that song at one point, but I've kept it in bins. And like bins of like
revisiting it.
Oh, and it's really, really humbling and cool, in hindsight. It's cool. At first you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, so that makes you just shut it out, but then
There's a
sometimes
reason
your
for
mood can change, and so you want to come back.
Well, yeah, growing up, you don't realize maybe you were at that place at one point and you've made it here. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you're like, oh God, that song was way too dark. I can't handle it anymore. I was like, ooh, wow, this was an uplift. It's just like so funny to see how the process of the writing went over the years and also going back to stuff. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And have you always been primarily folk? I mean, I know that some musicians, they play the genre that they're not necessarily most fond of. Are you a folk girl at heart, do you think?
Yeah, that and blues. And I'm a big blues artist, and, I've played with some other musicians who are fantastic, like, instrumentally just amazing, and it's been so fun to dive into my blues because Etta James and like wanting to do like maybe some like blues, like a blues project. That's really where I love. I am a folk musician and like that songwriting sense at heart, but blues
How'd you find those sounds, or how did you land on those?
I didn't know where my voice fit in anything, and all I wanted to do was share it. And I didn't think I was good enough too. Or I didn't fit the mold or whatever. And then it's like, there are no rules. But I remember like hearing like blues music, and I was like, oh, yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like, that's another project that I want to go forward with because I am, I'm very, I play banjo and I can play stand-up bass and, even piano, and I'm, I can play different, to get it going, but to really be able just to sing and have this amazing band behind me, there's some folks that I play with in Warren, and it's just like, wow, it's a really cool thing to experience.
Nice.
Different layers, yeah.
Who are your inspirations? I mean, they can be local or big time. I feel like Bob Dylan's probably one of them. We've talked about him.
Bob Dylan, and I know it's like, I do a lot of it in like that kind of like story writing aspect of it 100%, and like I can say like Paul Simon, but like in local there are so many, like Kate Mick is one of my favorite songwriters. She's from the Swampbirds, and like she a band, and like Morgan Johnston, these songwriters that are just so amazing, and they have such a different unique approach to the music, like the Welks. And they do like more bluegrass, but they take a turn on like a song, they'll do a Beatles song, and you're like, ooh, they made it their own though.
Yeah.
And you're like, I like it more,
That's not
like
a Beatles
like
song
this.
anymore, that's theirs.
And it's really cool. I really enjoy seeing how people curate even a cover in any way they can and make it really their own, because that's what I see as confident. Mm-hmm. So even confidence, so some of those folks that I mentioned, like they shift anything and make it their own. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think is really powerful.
So do you have anybody that you take their music and make it your own?
Oh yeah, I do. I remember when someone thought a Paul Simon song was like one of my originals. I'm sorry, I said yes.
I froze. I didn't know.
That came back to me like, I said that 4 years ago, so of course karma came back. But it was just like, Kathy, I hear the drizzle of the rain. And like the one who came out, she's like, was that one of your songs? And I was just like, well, hopefully she
yes,
heard it on
I'm
the
a big
radio or
deal.
something. And she's just like, wow, that girl was so humble. It's only a
She's
Paul
so-
Simon.
yeah.
Paul Simon.
Paul
took
Simon's covering her
her
song.
song. She was humble.
Oh my goodness, I love that. So if you could see any musician live, who do you think it would be for the first time? Dead or alive? It doesn't matter.
I always want to see Elvis. I'm not gonna lie.
Be one of the girls in the crowd.
I
that's
do.
like,
I
"Oh my
want to
God."
faint. I want to do it. I don't want to hear like American Trilogy, and I do. It's funny because we were just talking about the movie. Maybe that's why it's coming to my mind. But
Yeah,
Elvis,
yeah.
I'd really like to see live.
That would just be such an iconic performance.
Yeah, and I think
to
we'd be
see.
friends.
Yeah, you and Elvis
I'd
would
be
get
like,
along.
Hey, do you want to like come to my songwriters thing?
Want to hear my Paul Simon song? So you're a female singer-songwriter. Let's talk a little bit about Ladies of Folk. If you
Yay.
want to tell anybody out there who's not familiar with it.
Yes. So I am on the board actually, like for the Rhode Island Folk Fest, and also Providence Porch Fest, and they are such advocates for curating like safe places for all musicians, but definitely women. For me, I've had my own experiences, and just to have the ability to be in this space where I can curate, and like events that support like a festival and a community, and create it like from supporting like women like songwriters and who are just like striving to like just have that safe place. It's very cool. So I started to do Ladies of Folk about 4 years ago, and it was very successful, and it was at a SKU Providence, and they were very supportive, and it was like on a Sunday, it was like after Thanksgiving, and it was like such a beautiful night, and families were there, and it was curated to like kids, came by, husbands, like other women and their partners who are, and just like saying like, hey, like Beth, like here's my information. I want to be a part of this, and we've been supporting that, and it's been such a, we fundraised some amazing money like for the Rhode Island Folk Fest and to go to the musicians and everything we believe in. And this year, it's on October 14th at the Music Mansion, right in Providence, and Stone Soup is hosting it, and you can buy tickets online. But this is going to be a very intimate like setting, and we have some amazing musicians.
Who are some of the musicians performing? I know that Allison Calorie.
Allison Calorie, Jen Long.
Ooh, the Bell Guitar Project.
Yes. Michelle Sailors, who's an amazing singer-songwriter who I happened to meet over in the East Bay, and really. This other woman, Mary Pierce, who I had the pleasure of meeting at Common Fence, who has also been supporting the Ladies of Folk since it started. And now she gets to play it. And like she's like starting her own over in the South County area to be a part of. So everything's been kind of, I don't know, it's been
like
a really
full
wonderful
circle,
yeah, it's been very cool.
That's
so if you guys
wonderful.
can make it, please do.
Yeah, what was the date again? You said October
14th.
14th at the
Music Mansion, and it's brought to you by Stone Soup.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Be sure to catch it, folks.
Yeah. And if you want to volunteer in any way, we give away T-shirts, and just to be a part of this really strong. I'm really grateful to be. It's almost like kind of like emotional because I just wish I had something like this when I started out, because I was terrified.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be a part of it.
That's
Sort of
amazing.
thing, yeah.
Do you ever get still terrified performing?
Yep.
Well, I was gonna remark that when you walked in, you just stepped on stage and did your thing. I mean, do you have any pre-show rituals that you do, or anything to make you feel more comfortable?
I say the same 3 jokes throughout the set. And if the set is 20 minutes, you're going to hear them a little bit more. If it's 3 hours.
Did you do them tonight?
I did. I think I did every. I was like, oh, the jokes get worse.
That's always a knee slapper.
You
That's
know,
always a
it's
good
like, and they're like, oh, she's so humble. It's like,
Yeah.
no. Which I'm not.
She's quirky. She's
She's
different. We were talking a bit earlier about how you incorporate music in other aspects of your life. I know that you're a teacher during the day.
Yeah.
Now, tell me more about you work with nonverbal autistic children.
Yes.
Can you go into more detail about how you incorporate your music life into your day job life?
Absolutely. And I work in a various of differently, students and throughout the school. I've been at this school for 3 years in East Providence, and they've been so amazing. And, you know, administration has been so supportive of my music that, you know, they'll pay me to do certain events because they know it's a separate entity too, but I'm a part of the community. And as an employee, they just have been amazing. And like just to play at different events and like with the students, you know, coming into a classroom and just kind of like playing, like strumming, and they're like, they don't want to hear a song. They want you to sing a song about them. So like you make up a song on
So
the
you
spot.
improv.
Yeah. Or, you know, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's cool because, you know, it's just new to them. They don't get to see that every day. And I remember when I was first starting to bring in the guitar, I was like, they're like, Miss Beth, play one of your songs. I was like, it's not even
Tough
10
crowd,
a.m.
yeah.
This is dark. And then, but I started to do a song that I knew. I was like, they don't want to hear this song. And it's just like, you know, and you take a kid's name, like, and then you just kind of make it up. What if it rhymes with like hot dog? It doesn't matter. Even if you just say hot dog and then
It's a brilliant song,
it's
regardless.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And they feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I started taking classes to really curate, like, you know, because I'm certified as a yoga instructor and mindfulness instructor for like children of disabilities and of general education. And it's really cool that like it even parallels to something I've been educated in, but to deliver it in a productive manner.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot too, but I just had the best school, and they're so supportive of it.
I'm sure that it helps your technique, though, to come up with these songs on the fly.
It does, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Get
So
ready
you-
for an album of all
Yeah.
improv, hip hop.
So you play the ice cream socials and all the...
Yeah,
oh,
and I
that's
love
so-
doing that. The ice cream social and the harvest stand,
I
and like
love that.
they're just like, Miss Beth, like, and they'll ask like, "What's this?" And they'll help me bring in like the wires or something like that, and they get to
Yeah.
learn a part. You know,
They're like, she's a rock star.
I feel very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, Miss Beth is awesome.
Yeah, it's like really nice to feel that way.
Yeah.
You
That's
know.
wonderful that you can incorporate it into what you do in all aspects of your
And
life.
for it
you
to
know?
be accepted and respected.
And supported.
God, I've never experienced anything like this.
That's
So,
beautiful.
right on East Providence Public Schools.
Shout out to EP,
EP.
again. Woo. All right. So, Beth, do you have any other gigs coming up or anything that you'd like to shout out?
You know, just shout out to Motif. You guys have been fantastic and such a support of like my music, and I love supporting you guys, and just such a fan of what you do.
Oh,
And it's really fantastic. And you know, my gigs, if you want to check it out, you know, I'm on social media. That, you know,
What's your social media? It's at
Beth Barron.
straightforward.
Yeah, it's to say it's
There
Beth
you
Barron,
go.
and it's Beth Barron on Instagram. You know, Beth Barron Beth Barron on Instagram. Yeah, tomorrow I'm at the Guild in Pawtucket. And on Sunday I will be at Portside for brunch in Bristol. And then the Ladies of Folk is coming up next weekend. So if any questions, please reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At Beth Barron, folks.
Yeah, Beth Barron. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for performing
you.
and talking to me today. That was
You're
wonderful. Thank you so much to the Parlour for letting us use this wonderful space. Thank you to our sponsors once again, R1 Indoor Karting, Trinity Beer Garden. We have Ballet RI Blood Center, and Trinity Beer Garden and Mother Earth Wellness Dispensary. We're Between the Notes, and on the 19th we have John Fusak performing. So tune in for that. He's a good pal of Beth's. So thank you and good night.